My name is Hans Peter Meyer, and I am here talking to Wedlidi Speck at Wetchai Friendship Center in Courtenay, and Wedlidi's having his breakfast, so this is like really informal, folks. You too can interview somebody about sustainability at the breakfast table or in their office or wherever. Anyway, Wedlidi, you've had a look at the Comox Valley Sustainability Strategy draft goals and objectives around the social well-being pillar. Is that right?
That's right, yeah.
Okay, and like you're recognizing this community as somebody who's really plugged into a lot of stuff around social well-being. What excites you, if anything, about what you're seeing in the draft goals and objectives?
Well, I think what really excites me about it is that we're beginning to turn our eyes and our focus to the future and looking at what we might be able to do to contribute to the well-being of hopefully all residents in the Comox Valley, and in my particular interest, the urban Aboriginal community.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, to me, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think if we could, look at the factors that contribute to well-being, this is really a positive step in my view.
So, how does what you're, the population you're working with, how does social well-being there have an impact on the broader social well-being in the Comox Valley and sustainability generally?
Yeah. Well, I like the view with the Comox Valley community, as a community.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always, I'm a philosophical kind of guy, and I like the idea that community, its root is communis. Com means together, and munis means to be of service.
Oh, yeah.
That somehow the membership of this community as a whole is about being together and moving somewhere together, hopefully to a better place. And that the urban Aboriginal community are going to contribute in a meaningful way. That what's important to us will be incorporated into the look of the valley in the next 20, 50 years, right?
Right. Well, you had some interesting numbers around just the residential urban or Aboriginal population, yeah, and the urban population.
Yes.
What were the numbers again?
Yeah.
What were you looking at here?
Yeah, I was saying, Hans, that when we're looking at the Aboriginal population of the Comox Valley, is that we have about 300 members of the Comox First Nation, and we have about 4,700 urban Aboriginal people in the Comox Valley.
Wow.
And that's the makeup. They're made up of First Nations people from across the country, locally. They're First Nations people who we'll say are Anishinaabe or Ojibwe,
mm-hmm,
Cree, and there's non-status and Métis people.
Right.
It's a very diverse group here.
Right, and we're also talking about that. I mean, I asked you, so we have all this kind of diversity. What does a community get from recognizing diversity? Like, why is that important from your point of view?
Yeah. Why it's important for me is that when I think about looking at the cultural beings that we are, is that we all walk with a set of beliefs and values and preferences. And we'll say, as a man of 56 years of age, it's different than, we'll say, my daughter who's 25, mm-hmm, or my daughter who's 7. And it's different, we'll say, for people who are aging out, And so when we're looking at all our respective cultures, let alone adding ethnicity to it, we begin to realize that there's a whole set of different values that are important to capture and put into what we create as a sustainability package. And I think that's important. Without it, then it becomes a very hierarchical, dualistic kind of thing that only represents an interest group. I'm one who says that, with all our differences, whether it's family or whether it's community or a cross-cultural group, when we come together, it's important for us to not be afraid of the tension that's created by our differences. And through those tensions and work that we do, we somehow can co-create something that's meaningful for both groups, right?
Right. Well, that brings me to question 2, which is,
yeah,
given the goals and objectives of the strategy around social well-being, what do you see are the challenges of implementing that kind of a strategy?
Well, I think the challenge is that if we don't pay attention to our diversity, and if we don't, really work this in a meaningful way, is that we must take risks and really look at producing something that will allow us to stand really tall in our own lives, and then meaningful in our own lives, and that our voices are really clear, and so failure to be open to that, will determine the success or failure of this whole plan.
Right, and you also mentioned how it is like a marriage, and that
Yeah.
lots of times we're not really happy about engaging in that co-creative struggle to engage each other that way.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's really important, because when you're looking at the idea of co-creating, right, it's about us coming together, and we've created something that's meaningful for both people. And when you move forward with it, it's something we both can own. Otherwise, what ends up happening is that it's a default relationship where someone else, the power's handed over to someone else to decide stuff. And there's not much ownership in that. It makes it very easy then to be non-participatory in one's life and one's future,
right,
as a community member.
Right. Okay, well, on the third question I have for you is, how do you see yourself or your organization here helping to address those challenges and bring some kind of social well-being, sustainability to the Comox Valley?
Yeah, I think it's really important, and what I can bring to it is the idea that you have a vision of what sustainability looks like, you have a vision of what well-being looks like, and you strive to obtain that. When you take a look at the things that we need for our mental or social or physical, or spiritual well-being, not being afraid to say these are the things that we need, and really strive for them and integrate them in a way that will work for us.
And how do you bring that to bear, to work with your relationships with local government or other community organizations or businesses?
Yeah.
How does that show up?
Well, I think when you're, if we're approaching this well-being, I mean, it's like, if I can walk into a room, into a government meeting or whatever it may be, and things aren't working in that room, it's more of a reflection on what we have failed to co-create. And it's important, we'll say, for us to have the dialogue in order to create what we need in order for us to achieve in that meeting or in that dialogue the things we need to, if that makes any sense.
So that's like a first step that you take, is actually working on, let's establish it as the grounds for a dialogue where we can respect each other, and you know who I am, I know who you are.
Yeah, the principles.
Right.
Yeah.
And how responsive are other organizations to that kind of process?
Well, we've recently, we have about 7 memorandums of agreement in this community, and with one on the island, where we've outlined the kind of relationships we want to have and how we want to work together. And I think that's a major step in terms of looking at co-creating something and partnering in something, and knowing, we'll say, that as we move forward, that we have a way of resolving a conflict that we will use, as opposed to I'm upset now, I'm leaving.
Right.
Right. This is about trying to get into a relationship that will work for us.
Okay.
And that's powerful.
Thank you very much,
Yes.
Wedlidi. I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes, this kind of stuff, because it seems all very new and uncharted and a bit challenging to the ways we do business typically.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you very much for watching this.